Hi, I'm Stuart Sims, State's Attorney for Baltimore City. This office, the State's Attorney's Office of Baltimore City, is pleased to join with Bresco and the State of Maryland in bringing you the following presentation, Easy Money, Hard Time, discussing the dangers of drugs. We hope you learn a great deal from it and avoid the very dangerous problem of drugs in our communities.
Easy Money, Hard Time is brought to you by a grant from Baltimore Resco Facility, a subsidiary of Wheelabrator Environmental Systems, Incorporated.
Yo, Slick, you looking good today.
Thanks, man. Keep up the good work. Go in the house with Mom, okay? Slick. What's up, Slick? What's up? How you doing?
Okay, I think we got a possible buyer here.
Chilling, baby.
Okay.
Let's see. Me too.
You want two?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, he's giving up his money. Keep your eyes on the kid with the black hoodie. He's got one blue tennis on and one black tennis. Okay.
All right, Slick.
All right,
He's
man.
walking south on Elm Street now.
Okay, there's one of Slick's workers. He's going into the stash house. It's 1132 Elm Street. Here he comes. He's coming out.
Okay, I got him. Yeah, he's serving him now. Okay, let's take him off. 8801 to 8802. Got a black male wearing a black hoodie, one blue tennis, one black tennis, walking north on Elm Street. He's dirty. Can you take him off, please?
Slick, I want you to watch your sister while I go out back.
Sure, Mom. I'm down. Yeah, fine.
Steve, come on in! Put the couch, put him on the couch. Right on the couch. We'll get up slow. Come on, baby.
Thanks, Lookout.
Come on. Hey, Williams, you all right? All right. Secure? Yeah, we're secure. We got stuff all over the place.
Dent, you got it. Looks to be about 200 bags of coke.
Oh my God, what happened to my baby? What did you do to her? Can we get some help?
I'll call an
Please?
ambo. I'll call an
Please
ambo.
hurry.
8801 to KGA. 8801 to KGA. I need an ambulance at 1132 Elm Street. I have a little girl possibly ingested some narcotics.
I'll be back out. How you doing, Frank? You got nothing on me. Been searched? Yeah, been searched. You been searched it?
Yeah.
Searching the house.
You've seen the gold and clothes that drug dealing can bring. Seen how dealers get respect, maybe cars, status. But in this tape, you'll see what you haven't seen before. What happens to the juvenile drug dealer once he's caught? I know, I've been there. In Baltimore, juvenile drug offenders end up at the Mitchell Courthouse. Here they face assistant state's attorneys or prosecutors, people whose job it is to get dealers off the streets. Being a juvenile is no excuse. The prosecutors can ask the judge for what is called a waiver, so a juvenile can be tried as an adult.
Good morning, Your Honor. State would call the matter of Tyrone Lee Johnson, petition number 691-34219, on the state's petition for waiver of juvenile jurisdiction.
Good morning, Your Honor. Hamilton Bryant for the respondent. Your Honor, my client is 16 years old, and he's legally a juvenile until he turns 18. Prison is no place for a 16-year-old, Your Honor. I believe the place for him is in the home of his loving family, especially his sick grandmother who needs him to care for her. To sum up, Your Honor, we all know that the selling of drugs is a very serious crime. However, Mr. Johnson didn't kill anyone. What he did was not murder. He did not even hurt anyone. I firmly believe that the juvenile system has a lot to offer Mr. Johnson. Therefore, Your Honor, I would implore you not to send this child to the adult criminal system.
Tyrone, you appear before this court as a 16-year-old young man who has not had many contacts with the juvenile justice system. In fact, if we were to look at your record in this circumstance, as we are required to do by law, your record is minor. Your problem is that you will not listen to those who have authority over you and be guided by their wisdom. The law requires that I consider 5 factors at the time of making a decision of whether to waive jurisdiction.
To be waived to the adult court, you must meet 5 requirements. That's what the judge is going over now. You're juvenile until you're 18, but the closer you are to 18, the more likely you are going to be waived. Also, the judge considers if you have a physical or mental handicap, the nature of the crime, and how you behaved in school, any counseling programs, juvenile facilities, or group homes you have been in before. Also, he decides if you're a threat to the community. If you're dealing drugs, you are a threat. They want you behind bars.
Under the circumstances and considering the issue of public safety, we believe that you are a danger to the community and should no longer be a part of the overall open community. Accordingly, we grant the state's request for a waiver of jurisdiction, and we will send you to the jail. Ms. Madison, do you have a recommendation on the question of bail for the defendant?
Your Honor, given the severity of the crime, the amount of drugs that was obtained by the police, and the defendant's unstable family situation, pretrial services asked for bail to be set at $200,000.
$200,000?
Your Honor,
We cannot afford that.
There is no way that the family can afford such a high bail. He's so small, he's so young. You know what's going to happen to him with adults in jail. His family loves him. Please, Your Honor, let him go home. I implore you, reduce the bail.
Under the circumstances, we believe the recommendation as issued is appropriate, and bail will be set in the amount of $200,000. Pending the posting of bail, you are remanded to the custody of the Baltimore City Jail.
Please.
Ma'am, have a seat.
After the waiver hearing is back to the police station. The first trip was after the arrest. Now it's so the defendant can be booked as an adult. Even though Slick is only 16, the judge decided to waive his case because he dealt drugs. Now he is treated as an adult in every way, as though he were at least 18 years old, an adult. Tonight, Slick sleeps in the city jail with adult criminals, though he probably won't sleep much.
Slick, this is your new home, man. On inside.
But I'm just a juvenile. I don't belong here.
Well, you better grow up, my man. Grow up fast.
About 60 days after the waiver hearing, there is an arraignment. At that time, Slick can plead guilty. If he does not plead guilty, he is given a copy of his charges, assigned a lawyer, and given a trial date.
September 15th, Part 5.
That's fine with the state, Your Honor.
That's fine with the defense, Your Honor.
that the testimony you will now give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. Please give your name and assignment for the record.
Officer Theodore Williams, assigned to the Eastern District Drug Enforcement Unit.
Thank you.
Officer Williams, on the 25th of April, were you in the 1100 block of Elm Street in Baltimore City?
Yes, I was.
What, if anything, were you doing there on that occasion?
I was working with my partner, Officer Dent, to videotape narcotic transactions in the block that day.
Now, did you see any drug dealing on that particular occasion?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did you see?
I saw a white male, later identified as Timothy Martin, who's also known as CJ, and a black male, known to me as Slick, who was later identified as Tyrone Johnson, involved in narcotic transactions in the block that day. On one occasion, I saw a black male known to me as Snake, who was dressed in a black baseball hat and a black jacket and black pants, give money to Mr. Johnson. And then Mr. Johnson signaled to Mr. Martin, who went into 1132 Elm Street, came out of the house, and handed Snake 2 small white objects, which we believe to contain cocaine.
Now, Mr. Scott, the gentleman you referred to as Snake, was he arrested on that particular occasion?
Yes, he was arrested by other units a short time later, and recovered from him were 2 Ziploc bags containing cocaine.
Now, officer, I'm going to show you 2 items. Do you recognize these items?
These were the 2 Ziploc bags recovered from Mr. Scott, which were analyzed and found to contain cocaine.
Okay. Officer, if I may have these. Your Honor, at this time, I would offer the 2 items into evidence and have them marked as State's Exhibit number 1 and entered into evidence.
Shall be admitted.
One further question, officer. Do you recognize anyone in the courtroom today who was dealing drugs on that particular occasion?
Is seated at the trial table to my left is Slick, who's also known as Tyrone Johnson.
Thank you, officer. Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions of this witness.
Officer Williams, even though, as you say, Mr. Martin and Mr. Johnson were selling drugs all day, you only arrested 1 buyer. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, you cannot be sure what Mr. Martin sold those other people.
From everything I saw, and with my 4.5 years experience in narcotic enforcement, I believe they were selling drugs.
Okay, but as to Mr. Johnson, isn't it true that all you saw him do was take money and count it? You didn't see him sell drugs to anybody.
No, I did not. I didn't have to. He was the money man.
Now, Officer Dent, after you saw Mr. Johnson and Mr. Martin dealing drugs all day, what did you do next?
Okay, because we suspected they were using the location for selling narcotics or drugs, we went to Judge Sleecher and asked for a search and seizure warrant to be obtained.
For the benefit of the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what exactly is a search and seizure warrant?
A warrant is a court order signed by a judge which orders police officers to enter a premises to recover certain items or persons, and in this particular case it would have been drugs.
Now, did you search 1132 Elm Street?
Yes, we did. On April the 25th at approximately 6 in the evening, we entered the premises by rushing through the front door.
Now, who was present at the time that you executed that search and seizure warrant?
Tyrone Johnson and Timothy Martin, they were located in the living room trying to discard 10 Ziplocs of suspected cocaine. In the kitchen area, we located the mother, and in the living room, we also located the little sister who was eating suspected cocaine. Because of that, we feared for her life and called some paramedics.
Now, officer, when you searched the house, what, if anything, did you find?
Okay, after the premises were secure, a thorough search was conducted, and from the bedroom of Mr. Johnson, we located an additional 286 Ziplocs of cocaine, as well as a triple beam scale. We also located in the same bedroom, Mr. Johnson, $1,240.
Now, prior to that occasion, did you ever see Miss Benita Teresa Johnson before?
Yes, during the course of our investigation, 3 days prior to that, we observed Miss Benita Johnson come home from work, enter the premises. At the same time, Tyrone Johnson was selling drugs from this location.
Thank you, officer.
Members of the jury, have you reached your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor. We, the members of the jury, find Mr. Tyrone Johnson guilty of all charges.
Mr. Johnson, when you chose to deal drugs, you took the quick way, the easy way, and the flashy way. In so doing, you put yourself, your family, especially your younger sister Brenda, who almost died from consuming the cocaine, and the community at great risk. It is my job to make sure that you don't endanger anyone again. Mr. Johnson, the time has come for you to face the penalty for your wrongdoing. Accordingly, I sentence you to the Department of Correction for a period of 5 years to be served in the state penitentiary.
No, 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 no! This is not fair. You are not.
Slick Johnson got caught with a lot of drugs, money, and drug paraphernalia. And the truth is, not all juveniles arrested for drugs are waived to the adult court. Some first offenders do get off with light sentences. Some guys do make quick money in drugs, and let's face it, it's tempting. You may even think it might be all right to get involved, just to get some quick cash, and then quit later. But it's not that simple. Once you're in, the people you're dealing with won't let you just walk away. They use force, intimidation, and sometimes torture to keep you where they want you. I know. I shared a cell with a guy who got shot by someone who wanted him to keep dealing. How do you avoid all of this? Don't get involved with drugs in any way to begin with.
Easy Money, Hard Time was brought to you by a grant from Baltimore Resco Facility, a subsidiary of Wheelabrator Environmental Systems Incorporated.